Hello everyone. Today is a very important video, and if there's any of my videos that you watch all the way through, please let it be this one, especially for my Canadians, because there's a bill right now that has been through its first reading in Parliament, and if this passes, the last bit of your freedom is gone forever. We're talking today about Bill C-8. Okay, so the first reading of this bill took place on June 18th of 2025, and this was something that they kind of hid from us. It kind of snuck through, and unless you're actually watching the House of Commons sessions, you're not going to realize that they're doing this right in front of your face. So we're going to start with part one, the Telecommunications Act, and there's a couple things specifically that I want to go through. So if you take a look on the screen here, you will see the screenshot of the bill that I put up, or this part of it. I'm going to go through 15.1 A and B, and I'm going to break down what it actually means. So as you can see here, if the governor and council believes on reasonable grounds that it is necessary to do so to secure the Canadian telecommunication system against any threat, including that of interference, manipulation, disruption, or degradation, the governor and council may, by order and after consultation with the persons the governor and council considers appropriate, prohibit a telecommunication service provider from using all products and services provided by a specified person in or in relation to its telecommunications network or telecommunications facilities or any part of those networks or facilities. B, direct a telecommunications service provider to remove all products provided by a specified person from its telecommunications networks or telecommunications facilities or any part of those networks or facilities. Okay, so let's break down what this means. In simple terms, this basically means that if you post something online that the federal government of Canada deems something that makes them look bad, or something that is considered a threat to their government, to their administration, goes against what they want, they can basically call your service provider, your internet service provider, your phone company, and say, cut off their services. They don't even have to give you a warning. They can basically just tell them, shut down their services. We don't want this person having access to the internet. Simple as that. Okay, we're going to go down a little bit here to Section 8 of Part 1 of this bill, and it's titled No Compensation. So Section 8 says, no one is entitled to any compensation from His Majesty in right of Canada for any financial losses resulting from the making of an order under subsection 1. So what this means as well is if you work from home, or if you have a job that requires you to have internet access basically for working hours or any part of the day, and you end up losing your job, or losing out on any monetary value due to the suspension or loss of your internet services, the government does not have to compensate you in any way for that loss, basically saying that the fault is entirely on you. Okay, this next part that I want to go over is under the judicial review part of the bill, and it's Section 4 of the judicial review and subsection 2 of it, the designation of inspectors, where it states, the minister may designate any qualified person as an inspector for the purpose of verifying compliance or preventing non-compliance with the provisions of this act for which the minister is responsible, or with orders made under sections 15.1 and 15.2, or regulations made under paragraph 15.8, subsection 1, subsection A. So this means that on the internet now, and you're not going to know who, but the government can designate people to be going through internet accounts, whether it's social media, whether it's just your Google account, whether it's anything you do or have an account with on the internet. And if they find something that they don't like or that would go against the federal administration, they report back to the Minister of Public Safety, and they can shut down your accounts. They can shut down your internet service or any type of access you have to the internet. And specifically in this section where it says the purpose of verifying compliance or preventing non-compliance. Those words specifically, compliance, those are the same words that were used by the government of Cuba when they fell to communism, same words that were used by Venezuela when they fell to communism, same words that were used by Hitler before World War II and during World War II for anyone who was not complying with his takeover of Europe or his mass slaughtering of a certain race of people. Something to think about here. Okay, let's move on in this bill to what they're calling the administrative monetary penalties under the security of the Canadian telecommunications system. So we're going to go right now through commission of violation 72.131 subsection A and B, where it states every contravention of a provision of an order made under section 15.1 or 15.2 or a regulation made under paragraph 15.8 subsection 1 subsection A constitutes a violation, and the person who commits the violation is liable to an administrative monetary penalty of an amount in the case of an individual not exceeding $25,000 and for a subsequent contravention not exceeding $50,000, or in subsection B here, in any other case not exceeding $10 million and for a subsequent contravention not exceeding $15 million. So let's go through this now. This essentially means that on top of shutting down your services and blocking your access to the internet, they can also, as an individual, they can also give you a fine of $25,000. And if you do it again, by getting access to the internet somehow yet again, they can charge you again another fine upwards to the maximum of $50,000. So they're going to shut down your internet services, shut down your social media accounts, and then also fine you $25,000 that I would imagine, unless you're in the 1% who is complying with things with the federal government, most of us don't have that to come out of pocket. So this is quite literally an attack on your free speech. Okay, we're getting to another part of this bill here, which, if you're not already understanding the weight that this holds, on top of shutting down of your services and the monetary penalties, the fines of $25,000 or $50,000, there's also a chance that you might actually get arrested for the things you say online. So here we go. The provisions common to administrative monetary penalties schemes. And we're going to look right now, we're going to go under evidence 72.14. You're going to see it on your screen here. In a proceeding in respect of a violation, a notice appearing to be served under subsection 72.005, 72.07, or 72.135, or a copy of a decision appearing to be served under subsection 72.007, 72.08, or 72.136 is admissible in evidence without proof of the signature or official character of the person appearing to have signed it. So, if we go down to the item here, every person who contravenes an order made under section 15.1 or 15.2 or a regulation made under paragraph 15.8 is guilty of an offense punishable on summary conviction and liable, in the case of an individual, to a fine in an amount that is at the discretion of the court, or to imprisonment for a term of not more than 2 years less a day, or to both, and in the case of a corporation, to a fine in an amount that is at the discretion of the court. So, like I said, violations of this bill for things you say online, on top of a $25,000 or $50,000 fine and shutting down of your services, you could also face up to 2 years in prison at the government's discretion. Okay, so now that we've gone through the crucial parts of the bill and what they actually mean, I do want to clarify this bill has not yet passed. And before it does get passed, there's a few steps that it has to go through. So it's gone through its first reading, it has to go through its second reading, it has to go through a committee stage, a report stage, a third reading, and then for the finalizing of the bill, it has to pass in both houses. There has to be a reconciliation of amendments and royal assent, so it has to be signed off on by the king. Okay, so the first reading is basically the bill is formally introduced and printed, but no debate occurs. The second reading is parliamentarians debate the bill's main principles and purpose. The committee stage is basically the bill getting examined by a committee of parliamentarians who may hold public hearings and debate clauses. The report stage is the committee reports in detail by a committee of parliamentarians, and it reports the bill back to the main house. Any further amendments can be debated and adopted or rejected. The third reading is that the bill is debated and voted on in its final form. So that's the last reading it goes through in the House of Commons before they vote on whether to actually pass the bill or whether it gets rejected. In our case, we're hoping that this bill gets rejected. All right, thank you guys so much for being patient with me in this video. And while I was able to explain things to you, I cannot stress enough how important this video is and how important this bill is for it not to pass, because if it does, Canada will no longer have any type of freedom. The democracy of Canada will be completely gone, and it will essentially be a socialist, if not communist country entirely. There's a reason why the Canadian government keeps pushing the Never 51 slogan, why they keep trying to manipulate you into believing that you should never be part of the United States and that the United States should never take over Canada, because they want a controlled and compliant population. If Canada were to join the US, that means they would have to allow the people to be free and to be able to be armed. So instead of just going along with that slogan, instead of just thinking they're doing something good for you, realize there's more to it, more behind it, and it's not exactly for your benefit, it's for theirs. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you guys very soon.